Have you ever felt like you're just running on a treadmill? You're chasing all these goals, you have the ambition, the drive, but something still feels like it's missing. Well, today, we're going to talk about a really powerful idea that just flips that whole script. It's a huge shift from chasing success to actually attracting it. Let's get into how that works. Right here, this one sentence is the heart of everything we're talking about today, and honestly, it is a total game changer. It basically says that success isn't some prize you win out there. It's an internal state you have to build. The real work isn't happening in the world, it's happening right here inside of us. So, here's the plan. First, we'll break down that common trap of chasing the wrong thing. Then, we'll dive into what I mean by an identity paradigm shift. After that, we'll compare quick bursts of intensity versus a lasting identity, and I'll give you a practical 45-day plan to make it all real. And finally, we'll talk about what it means to actually become the standard. All right, let's start with something I think we've all felt. We set these huge goals, we work like crazy, but we're so focused on the finish line that we totally forget about the person who's actually supposed to cross it. And that, right there, is the trap. This just gets right to the point, doesn't it? You can have all the ambition in the world. You can want the promotion, the money, the new car. But if you're only focused on the what and you're not thinking about the who, you are just setting yourself up for a struggle. And even if you get those things, they can feel kind of hollow, They don't last because the foundation just isn't there. So that's the big question then. If it's not about a lack of luck or opportunity or even ambition, what is the missing piece of the puzzle? Well, the answer is an internal one. It's that gap between the person you are right now and the person who can naturally and consistently get the results you want. And that leads us right to the solution, the identity paradigm shift. This is the moment you realize that real, lasting success is 100% an inside job. It's never about what you get, it's always about who you become. Think about it like this. All that external stuff, a car, a job title, a number in your bank account, all of that can disappear in a flash. But your character, your discipline, a strong mindset, man, that stuff is permanent. That's the engine. The results you see, that's just the exhaust. When you build the engine, the results just become a natural byproduct. You're not desperately chasing them anymore. Okay, let's just get real for a second. I want you to pause and really ask yourself this question and be honest. Look at your tiny daily choices, the books you read or, the ones you don't, the workouts you do or the ones you skip. Are these little actions building the person you truly want to be? Because your future isn't some far-off place. It's being built right now, in these little moments. Now, here's a big one. This is where a lot of us get tripped up. We mistake these temporary bursts of motivation for real change. But if you want progress to actually stick, you have to understand the huge difference between intensity and identity. Okay, so this slide breaks it down perfectly. Intensity, that's like a spark, a firework. It's exciting, sure, but it's gone in a second, and it depends on you feeling motivated. Identity, on the other hand, is like a steady fire that just keeps burning. It's your permanent standard. It's automatic, and it doesn't care about your mood. A person who relies on intensity goes to the gym. A person whose identity is fitness is the type of person who works out. See that difference? It's huge. And this quote just nails the power of identity. We all know that struggle, right? That little voice in your head, the cookie right now versus your long-term health goal? Well, an identity gets rid of that debate. When you are a healthy person, the choice isn't a struggle anymore. It's just an automatic reflex of who you are. The goal isn't to get better at winning that internal argument. The goal is to make the argument disappear completely. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we build this new identity? That brings us to the fun part. A practical, step-by-step plan to turn all these ideas into your reality. The number we're focusing on is 45. 45 days. So why 45? Well, a lot of research on forming habits shows that this is a really powerful window of time. It's long enough to get past that initial resistance, where you're just grinding it out with willpower, and it's long enough for a new action to become automatic, to feel less like a chore and more like you. Think of it as a total reboot for your identity. And the process itself is actually pretty simple. First, you define the daily, non-negotiable actions that line up with the person you want to be. Second, you track them. Simple check mark. This keeps you accountable. Third, you review your progress every week. And fourth, you adjust and improve. Look, the goal here is not perfection. It is all about consistent progress. So what kinds of actions are we talking about? Well, they should be well-rounded. For your mind, maybe it's reading 20 pages or journaling. For your body, a quick 20-minute workout or just eating intentionally. For your skills, spending 30 minutes practicing something you want to get good at. You see how these are all small, totally manageable things, right? Consistency, my friends, is so much more important than intensity. And this is where the magic happens. After 45 days of just showing up, something inside you just shifts. That inner resistance, that feeling like you're pushing a huge boulder uphill every day, it just starts to fade away. You stop thinking, oh, I should read today. You just do it. In fact, skipping it starts to feel weird. Growth is no longer a chore on your to-do list. It's just who you are. And that leads us to the final stage of this whole thing. This is what happens when you've put in the work, you've built the habits, and your identity has completely shifted. You're not just aiming for excellence anymore. You are becoming the standard. Remember how we started with this idea of chasing something, of running after a goal that's outside of you? We know now that's the wrong way to go. That frantic energy of the chase gets replaced by this calm, centered confidence. Because when you've done the work on yourself, when you've built that discipline, that character, and those skills, you become a magnet. The very opportunities and results you used to chase start coming to you. The world just responds to who you've become. When waking up and getting a little bit better, mentally, physically, in every way, is just as natural to you as breathing, a really powerful dynamic takes over. It's not about trying to find motivation anymore. You are the motivation. And this is the end game. Success stops being some destination you hope to reach one day. It becomes your way of life. It's the natural, unavoidable result of the standard you live by every single day. It's just your default setting. So, as we wrap this up, it really all comes down to this. The power to change your entire future doesn't lie in some secret trick or a lucky break. The key, the major key, is you. It always has been. So the only question left to answer, the one you've got to ask yourself every single day is, with my actions, my habits, my choices, who am I becoming?